So hello again there, YouTube. Pretty much I'm going to be just giving you guys a rundown of what transpired the night of the New Year. Basically, it was New Year's Eve a day prior over here. So basically, it is the first already here. It's been the first. I'm in Japan, for those of you who don't know. And I'll show you one more thing. As you can see, it's 4:55. I promise I don't do this on purpose. For some reason, the Lord speaks to me in doubles. I am seeing a lot of patterns, actually. As you can see, it is 1/1/2020, which is today's date. And the Lord has just been speaking to me in doubles. And I know something's gonna really transpire big, but just to get on with it, because I don't want to make this too long. Pretty much on the 31st of December, I had a dream, but it didn't make much sense to me, so I didn't see any purpose in sharing it. I was kind of battling with if I should share it or not. Sorry about that. So pretty much what transpired in my dream was, so with military, you are pretty much set up with a home, and you're set up with, usually, especially if you're overseas, you're set up in a home. It's usually on base, and usually there are certain standards that they have to meet the requirements of your family. So normally, if you are living somewhere for 3 years, if you have no kids, then you should have at least 2 bedrooms, because there's a possibility that you can have a kid. And if you have 2 kids, then you should have at least 3 or 4 bedrooms, because there's a possibility that you could have more children. So there's certain requirements, especially with rank and things like that. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I had a dream that we had a new duty station. And when we went to that duty station, we were basically given an efficiency. So it was basically one room, and there was not enough space for our furniture. There was not enough space for anything. There was no windows. It was dark. It was crammed. It was terrible. And I thought that this was just our hotel. But come to find out, this was actually the place where we were supposed to live. And I was like, this is not going to do. And then we would turn on the lights, and the lights were so dim. It was so dark. It was terrible. And I was like, this is not going to do. Well, I don't remember the entire dream, but basically one of our neighbors, they had more. They had more space. It was still small. It was still terrible, but they basically made a tiny house out of it. And they also had a garage, and they had a window, and they had another room. So I immediately was like, we need to get somewhere better even than this, because this is not going to do. Well, pretty much something transpired with the husband. I don't really remember, but I think we ended up trading houses. I'm not quite sure. I think we traded houses. But I guess the point was, I had my children on the bed. My children were on the bed with me, and there was a man standing next to the door. I'm assuming it was the man that owned the house. And he was standing next to the door, and I saw this black bear stick his nose into the door. And I was freaking out. I had my children on the bed, and I was trying to protect them. And I told the man, close the door. You need to close the door, slam that door shut. And he's like, no, it's no big deal. We let him in here all the time. And in my mind, I'm just this is no place for bears. This is not safe for my children. I'm freaking out. I'm telling my children, don't scream. I'm freaking out. Well, the bear finally pushes the whole door open. And at this point, his whole head is in. and then his whole body's in. And this bear is huge. He's big and black. He's a big black bear. Freaked me out. So I'm guarding my children, and he's coming directly at my children, growling. And then I woke up. So I didn't know if this was like a legitimate dream, but I did find something in Jeremiah. And I did also find something, it's actually a lot regarding bears, believe it or not. Something very interesting in 2 Samuel. Basically, it talks about lodging, and talks about bears, and it talks about war, and it talks about how a bear has nothing to do with being in a home. Like, this is a beast. The home is for beasts. So that was one thing that I saw in 2 Samuel 17:8. But to move on to another dream, I'm actually going to go deep into that on another day. The Lord has to give me more, because I even asked him, I said, I don't really know what to do with this. But I was seeing Bible verses that were pretty clear dealing with that. Now, on the night of New Year's Eve night, right? We ended up going to bed early. My husband and I, we actually went to bed around 11 something. I went to bed a little later. And I was kind of up praying prior to that. Well, my daughter comes in the room. I didn't look at the time at all. But my daughter comes in the room and she's terrified. She had another dream. I'm getting a little concerned with her dreams because she has very prophetic end time dreams. I don't see anything like that. I usually have nice dreams. But she has pretty just, her dreams are very just kind of straightforward. And in this dream, basically she said that she saw a bunch of cars lined up and they were driving all crazy. She said they were driving buck wild crazy. And she said that a car fell into a cliff. Now, when I had her draw it, it didn't look like a cliff. She didn't understand what she was saying. When she drew it, it looked like a sinkhole or some type of depression. So there are a lot going on as far as like depressions and sinkholes around the world, especially within the last few months, in the last few years. And I think that's something to definitely look into. I do have a couple video clips on YouTube. As you can see, I did filter so you can see the most current. And it looks like about a month ago was, nope, here we go. We have 17 hours ago. Yep, SUV falls into a sinkhole, caught on camera. So that's what my daughter saw. There was more to the dream. It's a little disturbing. But I don't quite understand it. So unless I get confirmation on it, I'm not going to really share it because I don't even understand it myself. It's really hard to get information out of a 5-year-old. And lastly, so as this transpired, right, my daughter and my husband seem to have dreams at the same time. This is the second time this has happened. The first time this happened was with the full moon on 12/12, December 12th. And now on 1/1, both of them had same thing, dual dreams. Basically, my husband said his was a 2-part dream that about 6 months ago to a year ago, something like that, he had a dream also that basically he picked up where he left off on in the dream. So, he woke up at like 4 a.m. to tell me this dream. And my husband does not dream, nor does he remember dreams. He doesn't. It's not something he really focuses on. But the simple fact that he woke me up at 4 a.m. to tell me the dream definitely got my attention. Pretty much in this dream, he said that there was basically a mansion where he knew that evil things took place. What evil happened there, I'm not quite sure. But pretty much he said in his previous dream he had set this place on fire. And basically they watched this creature arise from this mansion. He said that the creature looked like a turtle in his body with wings and the neck of, he says, ostrich. So he said that it was eating people and it would hover. He said when it was in the mansion, it was about the size of a room, like, a normal size room. But he said that when it was outside, it was as big as a city. So I guess think of something like Godzilla or something. And he said it hovered over. Now, in this dream, I ended up finding one thing that could possibly be. When he said hovering and when he said eating people, I thought of prey and I thought of vultures. Because in the end of days, that's what is spoken of in the book of Revelation. But I did find something that matched what he was talking about. So this one was interesting, but I would have to look more into that. But this one is pretty blunt. And this one is Jeremiah 8:7. And it says, yeah, the stork in the heaven knoweth her appointed times, and the turtle and the crane and the swallow observe the time of their coming. But my people know not the judgment of the Lord. I do believe that all of these things are just pointing us to the end of time. I do think that these are dreams that probably are going to need more than one part. And if anything, pray for discernment, ask for confirmation or understanding on these, and pray for me to understand them as well. Because I think it's no coincidence that these two have had dreams back to back on very significant days, very marked days. My daughter never had dreams until very recently, and my husband never had dreams until very recently. So this could be prophecy that we see unfolding. So, always pray. I might be going more into depth on this. I might not. I might just wait it out, see what people have to say. And I do love you guys. If you have not accepted Jesus into your heart, now is the time to do it, because times are at the end. And reaching into 2020, I do feel like there is a darkness that is coming. I do feel like there is demonic activity that is working. I feel like Christians are under attack, and not only Christians, but everyone around the world is slipping deeper and deeper into depression. People are giving up every day, and Christians should not be feeling that way. They should be rejoicing in the fact that we have a Father in heaven that is an all-consuming fire, and the Holy Spirit that burns in us every day. We are the lights of the world, and we need to act like it. We need to not be where other people are. We need to be set apart and be doing the right thing. I do love you guys. Bye.